All right, so here were our graphs, right, from the warm-up. And lines 1 and 3 appear to be parallel, and both of these appear to be perpendicular to line 2. Okay? Parallel lines, this is the definition of a parallel line. They lie in the same plane. I thought I clicked yellow. Okay. They lie in the same plane and never intersect. Now what that means is in the same plane, they're on the same piece of paper. Okay. Remember we talked about skew lines before? If I have lines on 2 separate sheets of paper, that they'll never intersect, but that doesn't make them parallel. They have to be on the same plane, same sheet of paper. So they have identical slopes. So if you looked when we had our thing, our slope was -1/2 and -1/2. So they both had the same slope. Okay, different y-intercepts, 1 and 0. Perpendicular lines intersect at 90 degrees, so this is going to be a 90. And they have slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other. Our slope here was 2. 2 is perpendicular to -1/2. So negative reciprocal is opposite and upside down. Okay, so we're going to suppose that there's a line with a slope of 5, -5. The parallel line is also -5, and the perpendicular line is +1/5. So -5 and -5 are actually pretty steeply negative. And +1/5 is actually kind of flat. But if these two lines intersect, they'll intersect at a 90-degree angle. Okay. So we want to find the slope of a line parallel to this line. So the first thing we need to do is find our slope of this line. And then we find our parallel slope, or perpendicular slope if we were asked to find perpendicular. Okay, so we're going to take that 2x plus 3y, and we're going to rearrange it in order to find our slope. So there's 2 ways we can do this. I like to just pick this up and move it. And if you change sides, you change the sign. So it was positive, now it's negative. You don't have to just pick it up and move it. If you prefer the more traditional algebra approach, you subtract 2x from both sides. Just remember that 12 and 2x don't mix because one's a 12 and one has x's. So, then we divide everything by 3. Because I need y to be completely alone. Okay, 4 is our y-intercept. -2/3 is our slope. So here's our slope right here. And we are trying to find parallel slope. So parallel slope is going to also be -2/3. If we were finding perpendicular, it would be +3/2. Because for perpendicular, you flip it and change the sign. So first I'm going to go, all right, y equals 3. If I put that into mx plus b format, looks like that. There are 0 x's. So my slope on this one is 0. This is a horizontal line. Okay, same thing down here. 0x minus 4. Okay. Now for these, I need to put them into slope-intercept form. So first I'm going to move that 9x over. then I'm going to divide everything by negative 18. And you know what? I honestly don't care what that is right now because all I'm trying to find is the slope. So I can just ignore this fraction altogether. I have a negative 9 over a negative 18. So I have y equals positive 1/2. And like I said, I really don't care what this is, so I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. So positive 1/2 is my slope. I'm looking for the slope parallel to that. So my parallel slope in this instance is also going to be 1/2. And here my parallel slope is 0. Okay. Perpendicular, we need to flip it and take the opposite. So we'll start with D. What's perpendicular to a slope of 0? Well, if we flip it, that's going to put 0 in the denominator. And 0 can't be in the denominator. So my perpendicular slope down here is undefined. Okay, so perpendicular to each other, 0 and undefined. So if I say what's perpendicular to undefined, it's 0. What's perpendicular to 0? It's undefined. Okay. For the first one, we're going to have to solve for our slope using our slope formula from yesterday. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have 12 minus negative 2, so that's 12 plus 2. 8 minus 3, so I have 14/5. And perpendicular to 14/5 is negative 5/14. So I just flip it and change the sign. So we talked about slope, and we use that to write the equation of a line. You have to have two pieces of information to write the line. You have to have the slope and a point. You have to have that. Now, you can get that from either being told this is what here's this thing, line is, the slope is whatever, and here's a point on the line, and then you can use that, or you can look at a picture of a graph and find the slope and the line. They can give you 2 points, and you can find the slope from the 2 points, and then use one of the points to find the line. So we're going to try a bunch of different ways. So we're going to use slope-intercept form. In algebra, we also talked about the point-slope form. I don't know that you would remember that either, but point slope was y minus y1 is m times x minus x1. We're not going to use that one because it's a little more complicated. This one is actually less complicated, so we're going to use the easier version. So if we're given a line, like a picture of a line, this is actually one of the easiest ways to find the equation of a line. People don't like to think so because they go, oh my God, it's a graph. Graphs are evil, almost as evil as fractions. Run away. But it's actually the easiest way. Now remember, we have slope-intercept. Here's the slope. Here's the intercept. And remember that slope is rise over run. Okay. Here is my y-intercept. 1, 2, 3. B equals 3. So that part is done. The x stays an x and the y stays a y, so everything is done except for me finding slope. And slope is countable. To find the slope, you find 2 points on the line. And the points have to be where a graph crosshatch occurs. And then you count from one point to the next, always moving this direction. And I go down 2, that's minus 2, and I go over 1. It's counting, so basically I'm counting the blocks between one building and the next. I go 1, 2 blocks south, 1 block east. So my rise is -2, sorry, rise, and my run is 1, so my slope is -2. So I plug in that, and there's the equation of the line. So with a picture, all you really have to do is find where it hits the y-axis and count to there. Put that number here, and then find another point and count between them and put that number here. Just counting, no calculating. Next, you'll be told the slope and a point. Okay, again, we're using y equals mx plus b. Here's m, here's x, here's y. The only thing I'm missing is b. So I have 4 things up there, and I have 3 pieces of information, and I use those 3 pieces of information, and I plug in y, and I plug in m, and I plug in x, and I just don't know b. So b is my missing link, so it's -4 is equal to -6 plus b. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. 2 is b. Now I know b. I already knew m, now I know b. So I put m in, and I put b in. Oops. And that's my equation. Any questions on that? Here we're going to find a line that is parallel or perpendicular to another line that they already told us. So here's this line floating around out in space. So we'll just say it's like here. Actually, it's a negative slope, so it's over here. It's like this. And it's floating along in space. And along comes this point, also floating along in space. I don't know exactly where, but we'll just say there. And we want to find the line perpendicular to this line through this point. So we're trying to find some line that's going to come along and do this and be perpendicular. Why are you doing that? So we're looking for this line. We need to know what the equation of that line is. Or we may have wanted to find a line that came through and did this, and that would have been parallel. But right now we're trying to find the perpendicular line. So I take the equation they gave me, and the first thing I need to do is I need to find this slope of that line. Then I need to find my perpendicular slope, and then I use that and I find the equation of line 2. So those are my steps. So my first step, I move my x over, so I have 3y is equal to -2x minus 6. Divide everything by 3. So I have y is -2/3 x minus 2. So here's my slope. But I want perpendicular slope. So I flip it over and change the sign. So it was -2/3, so perpendicular is 3/2. So this is the slope I'm going to use with this point to find that equation, that missing equation. Okay, here's x, here's y, here's m. So -3 is equal to 3/2 times 6 plus b. And before you freak out about the fraction, 2 goes into 6 evenly, so I divide by the denominator. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and then I multiply by the numerator. So I have -3 is equal to 9 plus b. Okay, fractions are just division and multiplication. You divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator, or multiply by the numerator and then divide by the denominator. I like to divide by the denominator first when they go evenly, because that makes my numbers all smaller. Subtract 9 from both sides, and I get negative 12 is equal to b. And so the equation I'm looking for, I plug in the m and the b. This is the line that is perpendicular to this line and goes through that point. There's only going to be one line. There's only one right answer. Here we have another one where we have a point and a slope. They've given us the point. Here's xy, here's m. Y equals mx plus b is not going to go away until you're done with college math. You may be done with college math faster than somebody else, depends on what you major in, but it won't go away until you're done with college math, so really like hammer it into your head. So 2 is equal to 1/2 of negative 4. 2 goes into negative 4 negative 2 times. Add 2 to both sides. B is 4. And so my equation is negative 1/2 x. No, not negative 1/2, sorry. 1/2 x plus 4.